All right, so we are live. We are joined by Brittany and Matt. I'm super excited to have these two on. Real quick, do you guys just kind of want to like introduce yourself, kind of give us the rundown, the company name, what you guys do, all that good stuff?
Sure. So we own Stars and Stripes Painting in Dallas, Texas. We launched in March of this year, so coming up on 6 months, I guess. Yeah. And we launched with Pathfinder, and we've had super amazing success with it, and we've also learned a lot of things along the way. So yeah, that's about it.
For sure. So 6 months, because how long have you guys been working with us? Like what, 4 or 5 months? About that?
Yeah, I mean, we really pretty much got started with you as a way to start getting marketing and getting our name out there. So you've pretty much been with us on the whole journey so far.
Yeah, I remember you guys were just starting out. I guess I didn't even quite realize just how new you guys were, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Walk me through it, right? Like brand new company for the most part, doing it for a month or two before you signed up with us. Like what challenges were you facing before you started working with us?
Well,
I'll preface this. So we started the company, we were pretty fortunate. I was a contractor before in the early 2000s. And then I was working in aviation, and we went through coronavirus and all that stuff. So what kind of led us down this path is, my stepbrother actually in Colorado owns a painting business. So we had some insight, but knew that Dallas was going to be a super competitive market and needed every edge we could just to start getting our names out there. So that's really what led us to you. Again, there's so many painting companies in Dallas that just getting in front of people with leads and estimates is the most difficult part down here for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I'm sure you guys remember, it was pretty funny. This is one of my favorite stories to tell for obvious reasons. Like right after you guys signed up, because I'm in a lot of like masterminds with other high level marketers, very accomplished marketers. And it was like a day or two after you guys signed up, purely coincidence. I see a post from another really high level marketer, been doing this forever. And he's like, whatever you do, don't work with any home service based company in Texas, especially Dallas and Austin. So I started looking at the comments on this post, and everybody's like, it's just so competitive. You can't do it. You can't do it. And I know I told you guys, I was pretty transparent with you, right? Well, I told you guys like a week or two in that people said this. And I think like the first week or something, you closed the first project. And I told you guys, I was like, I saw that and I said, screw that. We're going to prove them wrong. I'm big on that too, right? Like, I think I've told you guys this, and I think you guys share this belief that like, even in competitive markets, like I believe competition is only relative to your ability to cut through the noise. It kind of sounds
100%.
yeah,
Yep.
totally. Yeah, but that was, it's so saturated that standard like Google PPC advertising was just like through the roof per click. And again, just so competitive that you're fighting with 5, 6 other companies. And so, yeah, it got messy quick. So we needed something that it's kind of our secret weapon because nobody else does it, especially as well as you do. So it really has been crazy successful for us. And we've noticed compared to the other marketing channels that we use, just that the leads from Pathfinder, they're qualified, they're ready to pull the trigger. We know when we go do those estimates that, that person is going to be pretty much our target, client.
For sure. Yeah, I always say not all leads were created equal. Right? Like
Very true.
Lead is very relative, right? Like I always tell people, I can get you $2 leads all day long. They just aren't very good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So you guys tried other stuff. I know you said the PPC, right? You guys were like, I'm not sure if you're still doing like Yelp, a couple other things.
Yeah,
right?
we did Yelp and Thumbtack, and Thumbtack was
A nightmare.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, you pay just to talk to the lead, usually about $180 to $200 just to talk to them. But they're also talking to 4 or 5 of your competitors. So you're not having a solo conversation really. And then Yelp's actually been okay for us. Yeah. But still it's definitely not enough business to keep us busy or anything. And those leads are we actually have a lot of spam leads that come through there, which we didn't know existed. Like
phone
it's
numbers, that type of
oh
stuff.
no, there are people trying to like scam you out of money. Like
Oh, what?
they just don't meet you at the estimate, and they're like, "I'll send you a check, but give me your bank."
Yeah,
Heard those.
Like,
you have to be
so-
very wary of the leads.
Yeah, and we get quite a few of those. So, yeah, those were pretty much the only other types of marketing we were doing. But again, it was just, and those people are so price conscious, and they're just kind of pinning you up against our competitors in terms of price when it's not apples to apples, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. So like, I know there's going to be a lot of people, like I posted in our Facebook group about this. I know there's going to be some people that are newer businesses and really excited to hear this from you guys, because relatively you guys are pretty new to this. What would you say like some of the biggest differences were as you're starting these different lead sources, you know, navigating that? What were some of the biggest differences like between the lead sources, I guess good, bad, otherwise?
I think, I think being the one that goes out to the estimates, I've realized people that are either through like a Yelp or a Thumbtack are really more your tire kickers. They're just starting to look at the projects. They don't have as many, I guess I would almost say like qualified questions, like they haven't really looked into it. But when I go out to a Pathfinder lead, I've really noticed they have colors chosen. They know dates they want to start doing this. They've explored other options around painting and stuff. If they're doing any other work, they know that painting needs to be on certain dates. So it's definitely, they are more prepared to pull the trigger even that day, so.
we don't know how you do that. We're
Yeah.
like, what kind of wisdom? I mean, honest to gosh, we don't know, because it's a huge difference.
Yeah, because I've been at leads before where it's like, I'll get the estimate and they're like, okay, well, this is all really sounding great. When can we start? Is generally more from the Pathfinder leads, and some of the other lead sources, it's like, yeah, give me the estimate and we'll start thinking about things. So it's like they haven't even thought about the project. They're really just getting everything together. But the Pathfinder leads, they're ready to roll.
And for us right now, that is
That's
so
huge,
key,
yeah.
because we're so busy, which is really great. But doing a whole bunch of estimates with people who aren't ready to pull the trigger is
Time consuming.
and losing money for us,
Right.
right? Like we've got to be strategic with that now, because we're having to schedule estimates, and we're so busy with those that we need to have it be people who are ready to go. So
Yeah. No, I
Yes.
love that.
Simply put, Eric, when we get a Pathfinder lead, we go to that one first over anything else.
I know Brittany was telling me at one point, she's like, I called somebody at like 9 p.m. when it came in. And I was
Yeah.
like, you
Oh,
probably
yeah.
don't need to do that, but I love it.
Well, and that would be one tip I would have too, especially in the beginning when you don't have maybe as many leads coming in. But a lot of them come in really late at night, and I never call or text them super late, but I'll message them
Respond.
back on there. And we've noticed if you can get back to them and schedule an estimate within, 12 to 24 hours, higher close rate, definitely, because we want them to stop looking around at other companies, just because I want to get them an estimate scheduled, let them know we're like available and stuff. So surprisingly, a lot of that happens in off hours. So
Right.
Yeah. 100%. That's always one of my tips, is it's like, if something comes in late at night and like you feel compelled to respond to it, but you're worried about being unprofessional, just shoot them a message on like the Facebook Messenger and just be like, hey, I'm going to give you a call tomorrow morning. That way they feel heard and all that. And
100%.
Still being
And they know it's not a bot, at that point.
exactly.
Right.
So for context, for anybody listening to, they're saying, hey, like these people are so much more qualified, and you're saying like, I don't know how you do it. A big part of it, yes, it's targeting and all the right buttons and knowing what you're doing. But a big part of it, like truthfully, we get a bunch of people in that aren't qualified, right? And the messenger system kind of weeds those out. So our whole system is obviously bringing the right people that are clicking on that for the right objective, but then use an automated system that doesn't take up your guys' time to weed out the people that aren't going to be that serious about it.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Just for that context, for anybody listening, it's like, what are they talking about? But I do want to backtrack for one quick second, because I know you mentioned obviously like you have some experience in this stuff, but if I remember correctly, like Matt and Brittany, like you guys aren't painters.
Not at all.
no,
No.
we knew, yeah, we're like, how did we end up in this? And we're so glad we did, because it's going well. yeah, we knew really nothing of the industry. I mean, he's been in construction, but
I was more on the mechanical side, new to painting. I mean, we're going to Sherwin-Williams, like we said in March, and learning what different paints are. I mean, that's how new we were to this stuff.
You guys are the definition, and I love it so much. I always say it's a lesson that stuck with me when I was working for a remodeling company. And you guys are the definition of we're a sales and marketing company that also happens to do painting.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And the definition too of what I always tell my team internally is like, let's run fast. We'll break things as we go. And once we're there, we'll figure it out. You've already sold the job. And then you're going and saying, all right, it's between these couple products we know we got to use, but let's get an expert's opinion. Let's really, really hone in on the details now after we got the job.
yeah, we've done a lot of learning that way.
Well, and I think too, Eric, for people that are just starting, the big thing that we've noticed with our subcontractors is they don't like working for you for 1 or 2 jobs.
Mhm.
They want the consistency. They're painters. They want to be told where their next project is. So I think that's really why we went with, a lead source that was so productive, is that we have to be able to hit the ground and hit the ground running. Because if you have these guys sitting at home, they're going to work for somebody else. And if those guys are more prioritized over at that company, all of a sudden your company's not as prioritized when you have projects that are ready to go. So, I mean, some of the upfront costs with that is marketing. It's required because it's ultimately what leads to having good subs, good jobs, and you're off and running at that point. Slowly getting into it wouldn't have worked for us.
That's
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you almost had to run fast. So your subs and those people you were relying on, like, knew you were serious, knew they could rely on you as well.
Right.
I love that. That's a really, really good point. So all that being said, right, like newer company, all this stuff, what would you say, like, whether it was working with us or something else, like what was like in the marketing or business wise, what was like the number one thing that you feel like helped you succeed, in doing this and working with us?
Well, I guess there was a few things. Definitely having a marketing source that is unique and that you're not getting pinned against. Because all those other services, after they submit a request to you, there's literally one button that says send your request to 5 other companies, and 95% of them hit that. So you're going to be up against them for scheduling an estimate and also for pricing. So finding a way to reach these people who are serious and they're the leads you bring in are people that they're not necessarily looking for the cheapest job. They're wanting to get it done right. And that's who we are. There's been a few times that we've not made very much money on a job because we misestimated it, but that's on us. And it was a learning experience, and now we know how to do that. So maintaining that level of like integrity and trust with clients, that we keep our word and stuff, is really important. And in fact, we've come in on a few jobs, and it was because the painting company they hired just stopped communicating with them. They had a contract, tons of other things, or did things, terrible work. So we've learned from that, and we realized that like reviews and customer satisfaction is huge, because now a big part of our business that's growing more and more is referrals. And so those are also similar, those are qualified leads who want to use you already. So
Absolutely. I love that. That's huge, right? Keeping your word, even if it means like, hey, we make a little less money on this job. If it makes a happy client that then refers you to other people, it's going to turn out net positive. So
yeah,
that's huge. Cool. I think everybody always wants to know like some of the numbers behind things. I guess like, I know we kind of mentioned earlier, I know you guys saw success like pretty quickly. Do you remember like how soon was it? How long did it take before you closed that first deal from us?
2 weeks.
Yeah, a week or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started getting estimates in fact, this is funny. The first estimate we got from you, because, we launched a company like we want to do, 2,000 square foot homes, single family homes. And the first lead you sent us was this monster. It was just a mansion of a house.
Yeah.
And Matt was like, he's like, oh my God, like, I don't even know how to, long story short, it took a while, but they ended up closing.
We painted it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so that was.
And made good money on that one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
really good money. But so yeah, we closed business right away, and we track our ROI pretty closely because our system helps us do that. And 100% every single month, Pathfinder's had a positive ROI, and it just kind of keeps getting bigger and bigger every month. So it's really easy to, because it's not cheap to do any kind of marketing, but when there's an ROI that's that positive, it's really easy to pull the trigger and do that. So, without that business, we'd be a really different company right now.
Yeah, I love that. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys have it. I mean, roughly speaking, doesn't have to be like a perfect number. Do you guys know, roughly speaking, like how much total revenue you guys have closed from Pathfinder since?
Oh, from Pathfinder.
Oh, from Pathfinder?
About 60.
Yeah, 60 to 70,000 in the first 3 months.
Nice. Roughly doing
Maybe 4 months, yeah.
Yeah,
Because there's some stuff that's booked for the future. But yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And you said what? And if you guys don't want to share this, that's completely okay.
Oh, no, we're fine.
People are asking, newer company, like what type of revenue are you guys doing a month? What part of that comes from Pathfinder as like a relatively newer company?
So I know in our first 4 months, we did climb over 100,000 in sales, and I'd say approximately 60 to 70 of that was from Pathfinder.
Incredible.
Yeah. And also the jobs that have been more profitable and kind of like less work in general have been Pathfinder.
Right.
So, but we did get some other sources. We've gotten some Yelp and some Thumbtack, but just in general, those seem to be more complicated projects. So yeah, but by far, what we pay a month, the first month we like tripled that in terms of revenue from you guys.
Good.
And then now it's just, we make up the cost of the marketing program in the first week easily.
Correct.
And so then everything else that comes in the rest of the month is just
Profit.
So
That's amazing. I love that. I love every part of that.
We do too.
Yeah. and we're ready to pull the trigger and up our budget with you, but we want to have the infrastructure in place. Because we are so busy, we want to have, the subs lined up and availability to do estimates. So it's a great problem to have, and we're working on that.
Yep. Yeah, I know we've had a couple of conversations about that and making sure we're strategic with it because, yeah, just like anything, right? Like, you gotta make sure you're doing that the right way. Was there anything, I know like everybody we work with for the most part, like takes our system and does things just a little differently, right? Which I often say, like, I don't want to change everything you guys are doing. What you're doing is working for a reason. Was there anything like tactically you guys feel like you changed or did differently that like really helped you guys see success?
Yeah. So I think, again, going back to the fact that we're new, we kind of used stock photos with our advertising with you at first. But recognizing that Texas kind of has like a architecture on its own, brick, houses, stuff like that. We knew it was important to get a before and after up of our projects. And that has yielded some pretty insane results because there's quite the debate on like painting brick down here or whatever.
Oh,
but that one post that we made with the before and after that brick we painted, I think has like, it's funny to watch the conversations because it has become like a hot source on there. And I think it's up to like 1,000 reactions already on Facebook. It's nearing that number and you see people debating, but any advertising is good advertising, it's getting it out in front of people. And we've noticed when I'm showing up to estimates with that, it's like, hey, I saw that brick house you did. We want the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's
a really
that would
good
be one tip is like we started to notice of the exterior leads that came in, the majority of them wanted white brick with black trim.
Yeah,
And
right.
so that's why we're like, we need to find a project we've done that reflects like what all these people are wanting.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good point. Yeah. I remember that was a conversation we had pretty early on. Cause again, because we're a newer company, you guys didn't have a lot of like before and afters, maybe not even any at the time. I don't know. So I know we had some stock images that like we were able to use and obviously got you guys results, but I do remember that you guys were saying, and I was telling you guys like, hey, if we can get some before and afters that are like from the area that are going to be more true to that area, it should make a big difference. And I remember that combined with like some data we saw on our end with some opportunities to change a couple things in the targeting. It was like overnight it took off, same budget, same everything, but it was like overnight it changed. I think you guys felt it too.
It was bizarre. Yeah.
And you gave us a really good tip because they had like some power lines in the background and we wanted those removed for the ad. And you were like, a lot of times it's better to keep that in because it looks like a real house. And if you look at the debate on Facebook, everybody's like, there's no way that's the same house. And all these people come into our rescue. They're like, obviously it is. Look at the power, like, look at all those small details that we were thinking of cropping out. But that's been the way everybody like knows it's a legitimate
Yeah, perfect suggestion.
before and after. Yeah.
perfect
Yeah, and kudos to you guys for trusting your marketer, as I always say. Because I remember you guys asked, and Danny, our designer, did. She edited it out, and we were looking at him on our call, and we were like, "This just looks too perfect. It looks too perfect, and it needs to blend in. People need to think it's natural, real house." So,
Yeah.
shout out to you guys for trusting in us, listening to your marketer.
Yeah, and that would be a tip. Like, you guys are the experts in this. You know what you're doing. You see so much data and everything. We trust you to run with it because, I'm sure we don't know it as well as you do. So that's been one great thing, and everything you've done has been really successful.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I will give one more tip. I started, when the leads come in, you get their phone number. So I always call them the next day, but then I always shoot them a text message too with, hey, it's Brittany, blah, blah, blah. Here's our available times for estimates. But we've seen like a lot of people, some of them don't want to talk on the phone at all, or they know it's you right before you call them.
Right.
So that unknown number, they know it's Stars and Stripes Painting. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, always a recommendation I make, if you call me and you don't get a hold of them, follow up with a text. Cause there's going to be those people that, at the very least, we can use text as a resource to get them back on the phone. Right. So they know it's you and they can, when's a good time for me to give you a shout?
yeah.
Right. So you guys have done a really, really good job of that. Those are great tips. I guess like overall, right? Like, what advice would you give to someone that, maybe is just starting out, right? And they're looking to get more appointments on the calendar, close more projects, grow this company into something legit. What advice overall would you give to those people?
I think one thing would be trust the process a little bit. It was scary to pull the trigger marketing with Pathfinder because it's not, it's a big investment. So we had to just kind of, trust and go with it and say, hey, if we don't make our money back the first month or two, that's okay. We were kind of expecting that, even though that didn't happen for us, but we were okay with it if it did, because you've got to kind of throw it all at it to see if it works correctly, like Matt was saying, and then I would say just making sure you're really available and taking every appointment you can and just capitalizing on all of those leads that come in.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Really well said. One of the things I always say to my team, it's like you guys are reading my mind over here. One of the things I always say to my team, it's literally, I think, a quote that has really changed my life is fall in love with the process and the process will be good to you, right? Detach yourself from the outcome of like, I want the income from closing these projects and just focus on how can I set as many appointments as possible? How can I be as good as possible at, getting these estimates and conveying our message that customers want to sign up with us, right? And I think you guys have done that really well and you guys saw success really quickly. So
Yeah.
love that. Cool. We're kind of wrapping this up here. Who would you recommend comes and works with us at Pathfinder?
Definitely no painting companies in Dallas. You're RC, I'm just kidding. I think if you're in a really saturated and heavy market, this is a really great tool to have. So, we have contacts now at kind of friendly competitor painting companies, but it's like, Matt, if you ever tell them what we're doing, they're in big trouble. So yeah, what do you think?
I really think it's to anybody that is looking to go out and knows somebody is ready to work with them. And I think even off Yelp, different from Yelp and stuff, you kind of have stuff in your back pocket when you go out there. You know their names. You can even look at their Facebook if you want and kind of get a little background info, know if they have kids. It's a way to get out to somebody and know exactly what they're going to want before you're even there. So you know their names, it's just simple stuff. But if you have more of a backstory with some of these leads, you're already there and you're 50% there. All you have to do then is get them a price that works for them and they're gonna move forward, you know, so just being out there and having a construction company or that you can trust, I guess, is what's been noticed. So for anybody that's looking to get more qualified leads in front is who I'd recommend for this stuff.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words as always, guys. You guys are an amazing example. So I was so excited to have you guys on. But yeah, I think that's all I got. So appreciate you guys coming on, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.
Eric,
Okay.
appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk.
All right,
Good, bud.
bye.